Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today we're going to have a really nice, delicious yoga class. So it's going to be all about resting and resetting and letting our immune system do what it needs to do best, and that's take care of ourselves. So we're going to just kind of do a restorative class today. So for today's class, it would be helpful if you had 2 blocks or something like 2 blocks. If you don't, I will try to show you some modifications. And a bolster or something like a bolster. So maybe some couch cushions, a nice sturdy pillow or two. Just gather whatever you have around. An eye covering is nice if you want to make this extra cush, or even a blanket if you feel colder. So grab what you can, whatever you have available. And we're going to start with our bolster here long ways on our mat. And if you don't have that, you can just directly back on the mat. If you have 2 blocks, then that's going to be even better. If you don't, you can also work around that. So we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. And then if you have those blocks, you're going to tuck those under of either knee to kind of help hold you up here. You can also use you can make fists, or you can put blankets or pillows here. So use whatever you have. Bring your back tailbone here area right up against the bolster. And we're going to lie back over the bolster and just open ourselves up. So we're going to let our chest open up to the sky and our arms out to the sides. And really just get deep and just let yourself go into this pose. Just let it all go. And you're going to rest here. So you're going to let the props help you up. And again, if you don't have a bolster or a pillow or blankets or whatever, you can lay directly back on your mat and still just let your body go into the mat. And I'm going to come up and talk you through this. So you go ahead and stay in that pose. But what we're going to work on here in today's class for our restoration kind of class is we're going to work on our inhales and exhales, and we want to lengthen the exhales because that's going to help switch on our parasympathetic nervous system, which most of us we're not there. We're always in that fight or flight mode. So we're going to go into this nice relaxing and calming mode, which is going to help that immune system. It's going to help keep that boosted and help allow your body to heal from anything you may be dealing with right now or you may deal with down the road. Inhale and exhale here, trying to lengthen those exhales. In the next pose, I'm going to walk you through some counts of breath. But for now, just go ahead and lay back in this pose and just notice how you feel, letting your body go. Watching your breath, in and out, in and out. Slowly inhale and slowly exhale. Let all of that come in and out through your nose and out through your nose or through your mouth. You can close your eyes. You can have an eye covering. Whatever is going to make this really super cush. We really just want to let our body go and really rest in this pose and all the poses today. Another inhale. And then exhale, let that go. To come out of this pose, you're just going to prop yourself up on your elbows and bring yourselves up using your hands. Just go ahead and bring yourself back up very carefully. So next we're going to go and move into supported fish pose. So if you have those blocks, this would be a great time to use those. If you don't, maybe a couple of pillows that you can arrange. Whatever's going to work for you, do your best here. And you're going to set up your blocks. I'm going to have mine on the same height because that was what works for me. You can have one higher or lower. Whatever's going to work best for you. You can have them at the lowest setting. You got to just pick here and play around. And again, if you don't have blocks, maybe a couple of pillows would work here too. So what we're going to do is we're going to place that bottom block right at the edge of our shoulder blades, at the bottom of our shoulder blades. So go ahead and lie back onto that bottom block, and then your head will go onto the top block. And let your arms kind of splay open here on the sides. And your legs can be out straight on the mat. They can be bent. You got to see whatever works best for you. For me, it works better to have bent knees with my knees knocked in and my feet a little bit wider. So pick whatever works for you. Again, we're just opening that chest. And just breathe here and just be here for a moment in this pose. Another thing you could do if you don't have blocks, you could take a rolled up towel and that would just be underneath of your shoulder blades and your head would be on the mat. So that's another option if you don't have blocks. You can always just make do with whatever props you have available. Really noticing that exhale. So here we're going to inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, and then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep with that pattern, lengthening the exhales as you go. Just feel what it feels like to just not have to do anything right now, to let your body just go into the mat. You may not think much is happening here, but your body is giving you a big thank you right now for the rest that you're giving it. Because most of us these days are going all the time. And you may find this is challenging to have to just be here in this moment, but stay with it. Try not to be too fidgety. Welcome the rest for a moment. One more inhale. And then exhale. Same thing. Prop yourself up with your elbows. Bring yourself back up with your hands very carefully here. Back up to seated. And now we're going to do a supported child's pose. So let's go ahead and grab that bolster or our pillow or whatever we have, or blankets. And we're going to come in to a nice wide-legged child's pose. So your big toes will be touching, your knees are out wide. Take that bolster and snuggle it in between your legs. And we're going to inhale and get tall, and then exhale and fold over the bolster. And go ahead and turn your head to the left. I'm sorry, to the right, excuse me. So your left cheek will be down. And I have a microphone, so I'm going to stay up. But what I want you to do is really let yourself go into this pose. So I'll show you without talking for a moment. So just let yourself go. Lay all the way into that bolster. Or if you don't have any of those things, you can lay directly out on the mat, so in a child's pose. Go ahead. I'm going to have you turn here halfway through. So go ahead and have your left cheek is down. You're facing to the right. And just let your body go into this pose, into your pillow, into your mat, into whatever prop you have available. Blankets are also great. And again, notice those inhales and exhales. So again, inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't really matter how many breaths you take in and out. What you're trying to do is maybe get an extra breath or two on the exhale there. Go ahead and turn your head to the other side now. So your right cheek will be down on the prop that you're using, and you'll be facing to the left. And we're going to breathe here again. So just notice at your own pace, take your inhales and then your exhales. And just notice those and try to lengthen the exhales, because that signals to your body that it's time to rest a bit and to calm. It's a very calming, that's calming breath work that we're doing here. And by resting, we're giving our immune system the chance to do what it does best, and that is to take care of us, to heal us, to fight off anything that we might be dealing with, to keep us healthy. I know we could all use a dose of that these days, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere where it's wintertime. Some more inhales and exhales here. Letting yourself go into your prop. Nice deep inhale. And then exhale, prop yourself back up and come all the way back up. And now we're going to use the bolster or a pillow or whatever you have. Or if you don't have that, you can still just do all this directly onto the mat. So modify however you need to. What we're going to do is snuggle up that left hip to our bolster. And both of our feet will be over to the right. We're going to inhale and then exhale and turn our body over onto that prop. And now you're going to lay onto that prop. Now, I would suggest for today's class, because we're trying to make this easeful, go ahead and put your left cheek down on the mat, onto your mat or your prop, and then you'll be looking over to the right. So your face will be the same way as your knees. And the same thing, you're going to lay onto that prop. If you want to make it a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit more of a twist, then you're going to turn your head the other direction, but that will intensify the twist. So pick what's best for you, and remember, we're focusing on restfulness here. I'm going to stay up again because I have a mic, but you're going to just let yourself go into that prop. So go ahead and stay there. This twist here, mild twist, and the same thing. Inhale and exhale. Letting the exhales lengthen as you let yourself drop into the prop that you're using, whether it's just a mat or a pillow or a bolster. It can still be a restorative, cushy experience even if you don't have all the props. And I highly recommend for all these poses, close your eyes. It's a nice way to close out what's going on in the outside world and just focus on yourself here. So go ahead and stay in this pose for another minute or so. And breathing, noticing your breath, noticing how you feel in these poses. Are you a little less fidgety now from the beginning of class if you were fidgety? Are you just enjoying this and like, I need to do this more often? Just notice where you are. It can be challenging just to take a rest and just to be in this moment. But it's such a powerful practice, even though it doesn't seem like a whole lot's going on. Take a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, prop yourself up with your hands. And now we're just going to go to the other side. So go ahead and turn and bring that right hip up against your bolster. Same idea. Knees will be off now facing the other side of your mat. And we're going to inhale, get tall. And then we're going to exhale and turn our body and lie ourselves over that prop. Or again, directly onto the mat would also work. It just won't be as cush. For less intense, you'll be looking the same way as your knees are facing. That means to the left. Or if you'd like to intensify it a little bit, make it a little bit more of a twist, then you're going to lay your head will be facing the opposite direction. So it'll be facing to the right. So pick what's best for you. I highly recommend facing to the left. You still get the twist, but it's not as intense. So stay here for a few breaths. I'm going to come up and keep an eye on the time. But you go ahead and stay there in that pose, breathing, noticing your breaths, noticing how you're feeling. What is your body telling you right now? Take this time for yourself. Give yourself that immune booster. Another nice deep inhale through your nose, out through your nose, or if you're stuffed up at all, maybe allergies or cold or whatever you may have going on, you can always breathe out of your mouth if that's better. But remember, keeping your eyes closed will really help with these poses too. Help block out the outside world. Now take a nice deep inhale, really fill yourself all the way up. Hold it for a moment, and then as you exhale, bring yourself back up to a seated position. And from here, we're going to do legs up the wall, if you have a wall. I do not have a wall, obviously. So for those of you that are either outside or in a space that doesn't have a lot of wall space, or for a variety of reasons, I'm going to show you what we're going to do in a moment. But for those of you who have a wall, I'm going to show you a pretend imaginary wall here, what you're going to do. So you're going to bring your back here up against the imaginary wall that I have going on. And then from there, lie down and then just swing those legs up against that imaginary wall. And your legs will now be up against a nice wall. So you are going to have a little bit more of a cush experience here because you don't have to hold you're going to have something to prop your legs up against. For those of you that don't have a wall, such as myself, or wall space in general, you're going to take a block if you have one. If you don't, you can do this without a block. You're going to lie back down. You're going to take that block underneath of your sacrum. Prop yourself up a little bit here. I'm using the lowest level. I'd say the lowest or medium is best, not the highest one, because you want to have stability here. Bring your knees into your chest, and then bring them both straight up to the sky. So you're going to pretend that you have a wall here, but You're obviously going to have to work a little bit harder to keep your legs up, so it's not quite as cush. So the wall is great, but if you don't have the wall, you can still do it. You can still modify. And we're just helping to reverse the flow of blood here. This is great if you've been on your feet a lot, if your feet are bothering you, your legs are bothering you. And again, if you don't have a block, you can do this without having a block and still just have your feet up. So just hold here and really let that blood flow. Reverse here a bit. And it feels really nice, even if you don't have the wall. It's really nice and cush. So just breathe here. I'm going to go ahead and come out of it for a moment and walk you through it, but go ahead and stay there. And really notice those inhales and exhales. Again, lengthening those exhales the best you can. That's really, really important for this. Go ahead and stay here for a moment. Inhaling, exhaling. Keep with that pattern. And then, if you would like, you can either stay with your legs up a wall, or if you just have them without a wall, you can stay there if you'd like, and we'll take that as your Shavasana. Or if you would like, go ahead and lie back into a regular Shavasana. But I highly recommend if you have something to prop up your knees when you lay back in your Shavasana. So if you have that, prop up your knees and lie back into your Shavasana and let yourself go into the mat, or stay with the legs up the wall, because that's a great pose also to finish out with. And we're going to stay here for just a couple more minutes. And just stay in that pose with your breath and resting, letting your body restore and taking this sweet time to do that for yourself. And while you're here, I'm going to share a quote with you by Eddie Hiddleston. Sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two deep breaths. I'll say that one more time because I think it's really important. We need to really sort of focus on our breath throughout today's class. Sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two deep breaths. On that note, I want to leave you here. So stay in that pose as long as you can, whether it's legs up a wall, or maybe you want to transition to Shavasana, or maybe you're already in Shavasana and you're lying out on the mat and you just let everything go. Stay there. Cover yourself up. Close your eyes. Take a nap. Do what you need to do to allow the effects of your practice to integrate themselves into yourself. I hope this was a helpful class for you. I hope that you enjoyed a little bit of the rest and and restoring ourselves here. It's really important that we do this for ourselves. Take a little bit of time. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, namaste.